I hear go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him, yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head, yeah, I'ma let him. All I hear go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him, yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head, yeah, I'ma let him. Early bird go get the worm in the dirt. I could show you what I'm worth, my hands in the dirt. From where they look when you not, a hand in your purse. Hell if you think I'm last, last should be first. Go ahead and go.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ron.
And we are back with another Godfather of Harlem recap. This is season 4, episode 8, and it was titled, If We Must Die. But before we jump into the conversation, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like the video, and click that notification bell. Also follow us over at the Spot Real Talk on all major platforms of social media. We would love to have your friends and family, anybody you know that has not joined the Spot Real Talk, tell them to come and subscribe to our channel. We got a lot of great conversations going on over here and a lot of great ones to come. So you're not going to want to miss out. Now let's go ahead and jump into Godfather of Harlem because this was a good one. I really enjoyed this episode. And this was one of the few times I think in all 4 seasons where we see Bumpy in a real desperate situation that it's like how he don't really have a plan as to how to get out of this one. And things were going left on him this episode. So before we start about the whole Colombo situation, because Colombo
gotta go.
He really grind my gears this episode.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Bumpy and Frank. So Bumpy has welcomed Frank into the fold, and he has Frank working for him, doing, little light jobs here and there, following him on different tasks. And it seems to be stirring up some resentment between Pettigrew
and Chance.
And that's what I'm saying. First, Chance was kind of talking Pettigrew off the ledge, like, nah, you need to chill out. Like, Bumpy, he know what he doing. He welcomed Frank back for a reason.
And he said,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what you said about the second chance. It was like he's giving him a second chance. He talked Pettigrew off the ledge.
Yeah, he was saying Frank risked his life. We know Chance had that conversation with Frank and was basically saying Bumpy would welcome you back if you act like you got some sense, basically. And Frank was he turned himself around and Chance was saying, I respect him because he basically followed what I told him to do. But Pettigrew been murmuring under his breath quite a bit. And he's real concerned about the money, and it's looking like things are not going to go in Bumpy's favor. And he's like, we're not selling the doogie. The clubs is going down the drain. We about to be high and dry.
I felt why he had that feeling about Frank. You know what I've thought about Frank. And
yep.
Just like he said, I mean, had not the tables turned the way they had, Bumpy would have been dead because he went into the hospital to do nothing but kill him. So
yeah,
I understand why he feels that way, and he has every right to, because this man he's flipped the script more times than I think you can ever flip a script. But I have to say, watching this episode, I saw some really, I can now understand why Bumpy has him around, particularly being young and quick.
Yeah.
When that gentleman walked from behind as they were walking out of the club and he wanted to serve Bumpy. I mean, Frank not only heard him coming before Bumpy.
He was quick on the draw.
And so you need a guy like that around. I'm not too sure if Pettigrew and Chance would have been.
Well, I think Chance is, because Chance is a former soldier. So yeah, I think Chance is usually, on it.
Yeah, but I just, with the quickness Frank had, I'm like, okay, that's
yeah.
That was youth. And I said, okay.
That was youth. It was definitely youth.
So I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, but I am concerned a little bit about the murmuring that Pettigrew has been doing it, because it seems like his loyalty is wavering, and the fact that it's all dependent on whether or not he can make money.
Get money.
He doesn't seem like a real friend.
Yeah,
And Chance has been way more loyal.
Right. And that's my concern. Like, he had legitimate concerns about Frank and stuff, and even like Bumpy and the money and stuff. But I'm like, I think I respect Chance more, because Chance is going to ride regardless of the
Yep.
circumstances. And Pettigrew is talking like, well, the money, the money, the money, the money.
And it's crazy because they both are indebted to Bumpy. We seen a few episodes ago where Bumpy saved Chance life, and then last season we seen how Pettigrew was mixed up with the chick that had him on drugs, and Bumpy had to come and get him up out of that mess. So I'm like, you literally owe him.
And he stole from him. Remember, he was skimming money and stuff, and Bumpy still let him back in the fold. So for him to be saying that about Frank, like again, he has right. All of us could side eye Frank and stuff. I get it, but at the same time, Pettigrew was given a second chance.
Yes, and that's why I'm like, he's really critical, and I just don't like the fact that his loyalty lies on whether or not you can give me money.
Well, I think what he sees is that Bumpy is becoming a little more beholden to Frank, and they, am I slipping away? Is he
a little jealousy, you think?
Yeah. I think it's more from that perspective than anything else, because they are Bumpy's up until now. Bumpy's right-hand men. So, and now he sees Frank just so comfortably in with Bumpy.
Yeah, just so easily. Like it seemed like he just
overnight,
welcome to the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mad at him. Plus they mad because Frank cuter than them.
Well, yeah, I thought too that it was a little interesting for me with Frank, when Colombo seen him, with Frank, he was like, "Oh, you found your people."
He said, "You found your tribe." But I was like, "Racist of you."
I was like, man,
it's a good line though. It's a good line. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about why Bumpy is even involved in this whole mess. He's getting served papers and getting sued essentially because for the ownership of the St. Clair club, and basically Straub, old boy from a few episodes ago, is coming back trying to snake his way into stealing ownership, and he's basically saying that Bumpy got the land for the St. Clair under false pretenses, basically saying that he stole the value of that land from Marshall Grant.
Coerced him.
Yeah, coerced him. And yeah, so that whole thing comes into question, and Bumpy is presented papers. Like he met up with Straub, and Straub showed him the document that Marshall Grant signed. And so he like, oh, okay, so this legit. So he has to confront Marshall Grant about it. And we find out that Marshall was basically threatened. His life was threatened if he didn't sign the paper, and he was saying he didn't know what he signed. And I was like, that's not far-fetched considering how they roll.
No, it's not far-fetched at all. Even when you think about what I can't forget what the character Whoopi plays.
I don't. She's the accountant.
Her name. She's the accountant. And when she told that story about her own, father's business and stuff and everything. And so that's what has happened time and time again to our communities, our business and stuff. When she started telling that story, the first thing I thought about was Tulsa and Black Wall Street and everything, and how that community was destroyed.
Yeah, and she was talking about how they built a freeway through her community and how it messed up basically all of the ties and the bonds that they had within the community. She said she was raised by every woman in her neighborhood. But she said, for Bumpy, she was like, it's not going to really affect you that much, but you got to think about the community that it would destroy if Straub was to get his hands on that club. And that was a really good point made by her, because we've seen it happen time and time again.
However,
he'll still be rich. He'll still have his other club and everything. He'll be fine. That's what he said.
If Bumpy were able to listen to this show or the writers and take my advice, he should have stayed with the Doji.
See, that's ruining the community too.
Yes.
So I
You've
understand why
already done the damage. Okay, so my point is, make your money and
no,
owe
no,
no
no.
one.
I'm glad.
Bumpy has
We got Bumpy right now questioning. I mean, he can't. He's in the low of lows because he wants one thing he really understands. Now he loves his wife. He loves Mamie. He loves everything about her. And out of everything that he loses, the thing I believe that would hurt him the most is to see Mamie down in the ditch because of a ill-gotten plan.
she said she would live in a cardboard box with him.
Right. She
I
would live
know
in a
she
box
said,
with
no,
him.
no, no. I know she said that, and I believe every bit of it. But a man like Bumpy,
It would hurt. It would definitely
it's
hurt
more
his
than
pride.
her, because that's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Particularly when you've built your family up to a point, to this level, and
Hmm.
only to have it dashed down by some ill-gotten, supposedly ill-gotten gain, which we know that's not the case. But again, a black man going to court with Straub is not going to fare well, particularly, and Marshall couldn't go in and say, well, I signed it under duress. Nobody's going to believe it.
Well, that's what the plan was.
It was a
And
plan, but
it got to Marshall first, which
Yeah.
hurt Bumpy even more.
yeah, but I was glad to see Bumpy forgave him, when Marshall said, you believe me, I didn't do this intentionally.
Yeah,
And
because he know how they roll. He
yeah,
know how the families in Colombo get down.
right.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I don't know. So
First of all, I mean, I was surprised because he knew how they got down. I was surprised that Bumpy ain't had men like
yeah,
protecting Marshall or whatever. I thought he would have had, especially because of the connection he had with him to his older sister and everything like that. I was surprised that he ain't put no men on him to just to watch out and protect him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the unfortunate part. And I think that's why he like blamed himself so much after the fact when he went to Mamie and he was crying to her. I think he felt like he missed and like over he got outsmarted basically. And we know how much collateral they had up the various businesses, the house that they live in. Like that was all secondary to the fact that I got this man killed. Like I think, and that really, really hurt him.
I think Bumpy thought by moving him into the more posh apartment area that he would have escaped any necessary harm.
No, not without protection.
But
I mean, he still live in New York. Like
him and Marshall, though, I think Marshall's mistake was to not tell Bumpy what had happened, because then Bumpy would have certainly made certain that he had protection.
But he did tell him. I mean, when
he was forced to sign but Bumpy said, "Why didn't you come up and tell me this?" Because he feared for his life. But my point being is, you're dealing with gangsters.
Yeah.
You really don't give a root. So I would have said something to Bumpy and said, "Hey, either I need protection or at least given Bumpy the up." But you didn't because you didn't know what you were signing, he says. But anytime they tell you to sign something, it has to be nefarious.
Right.
I felt that Bumpy should have had security on him from when they first walked into that board meeting and when he signed over. I think he should have had security on him because it was clear that they were using Marshall as the straw man anyway. So I felt like he should have had security on him way back then, long before.
And if not way back then definitely after he had that conversation where he confronted him and he was like, "We'll figure it out."
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Straub and Colombo had hooked up before that meeting, where I don't think they had hooked up at that point.
No, they hadn't, but I still would have because I remember I said early on that I said I was nervous for him.
Yeah.
And I said I was nervous for Delia. And I was like, and because I could see this, I was like, because he Marshall, embarrassed him and stuff and everything, and sold his chair to Bumpy and everything, and I was like, he's not gonna be long for this world. So I thought that he needed protection even back then.
Yeah.
Especially because of the long ties that Bumpy had with him. Like he's somebody
Yeah, it goes with
that cared for his sister and everything like that. I think I would have gone out my way just to make sure that he was protected.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate because this really did kind of come out of nowhere for Bumpy, because he was like, once he found out that Straub was actually connected to Colombo in this deal, he went and confronted Colombo. Like, I thought we were good. Like, we making more money than we ever had. Like, the club is booming. What's the problem? And basically, Colombo was like, well, Straub had a better deal, and he's trying to roll with who he thinks can win because Straub is so connected and powerful or whatever. I just thought that completely blindsided Bumpy, because there's nothing he could have done to prevent that from happening. And go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say Colombo is such a snake to be in business with, because his loyalty does not, it sways with the wind. One day he here, one day he there.
Listen, and it's about him. You remember, like, even going back to Chin in the very beginning of the episode, how dare you, black man, think that you can have this for yourself and just employ only black people? Like, no, you gotta have everybody. Like, no, you don't, because he's trying to Bumpy's trying to build a legacy. And so it was that too. Like, how dare you think you can do this alone? And you heard what he said all 5 families is behind this. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so it was about that too. Oh, you think you're gonna have this to yourself? We want a piece, and not only we gonna take a piece, we're gonna take all of it.
All of it. And he was saying that he was actually going to be the king of Harlem or whatever. Like, he was going to take over all the operations. And he was like, he was basically saying, you're going to be selling Doogie again. And that's why I was saying, like, what Ron's comment about Bumpy going back to selling Doogie, that would give them all the satisfaction in the world.
Oh, yeah. Because they want him to stay at this place.
No.
Like, stay in your place. Don't elevate.
No, at this point, no. But I'm saying, when you were initially confronted with having to come up with that money, and because my whole idea, look, I know when you have these brilliant plans, but sometimes they go awry. And when you have as much to lose as Bumpy had, and I'm thinking, what, a month or two, he could have probably made that money. Maybe 2 or 3 months. I don't know. But the point being is, make the money, then do it, get out and do your thing, and you owe no one anything. You don't, and that was my point.
I know, I hear you, but it's not always easy to get out, though. That's why I'm like,
Bumpy decided to leave, and no one could stop him from leaving. So, whether he left after making the money he needed, or whether he left sooner trying to get a loan, as we see now, his back is up against the wall, and what can he do? He can't really take Colombo out. That would be a major war. And I don't believe
there's gonna be. Listen, Colombo gotta go. Colombo gotta go.
I don't believe all 5 families are in favor of what Colombo did, and I think that's where Colombo's gonna get his come up.
Yeah, right. I don't think so either. I think he was lying when he said that. And I think Colombo has got to go.
Yeah, and when you look back to what Colombo was saying. He was basically saying that I sent Straub to offer you a fair price. And so Bumpy did have an out in the situation. He was going to get what he paid for the club plus that 10%. Mm-hmm. And Bumpy declined it at first, but ultimately he ended up signing the deal and whatnot. And the thing that makes it so crazy is that Colombo killed Straub. And so it's like, well, what's going to be the blowback from that? Like, how does he get out of that? Because considering he was saying Straub is so well connected and he is like so high up on the food chain, you killed this man. Mm-hmm. And with him having all this notoriety, people are going to notice that he's gone. What's to come of that?
But he didn't kill. Like, remember when Straub, after Bumpy signed the document, and he gave it to Straub. Straub gave it to the man, I guess, in his in his company or whatever. Well, Colombo ain't kill him, so he probably got that man on the payroll.
I'm sure, but I'm like, somebody gonna have some questions.
Yeah, and then again, it's not like you met in secret. People saw you go in, and
they make people disappear though. Like, they might have to find out where Straub is.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's this, I think all Bumpy has to do is sit back and wait because I think the other family members are, they're not too.
I think he's gonna craft. I think he's gonna craft a plan. I think after this, because he down bad, and Bumpy doesn't like to be,
But
caught on his back foot and everything like that. So I think he's gonna devise a plan to come back.
I
wait a
think
minute.
that the plan might have a whole lot to do with Stella.
See, you took
Uh,
it
Yeah, I think
right
so
out of
too.
my mouth. I started to say, wait until Stella gets word.
Yes, yes, I think so too. Stella is always like in the back pocket and stuff.
yes, because basically Colombo went to Stella and was telling her like, let's get married. A change is coming to Harlem, and we need to join families for the sake of power. And Stella was basically like, have you read that book, The Man Who Would Be King?
Right.
And she talks about how that man and the person he was with died a violent death
Yeah,
because they had too much hubris.
Mhm.
And I was like, this sounds like foreshadowing.
yes. She tried to humble him like that was a warning, a subtle warning she was
Mm-hmm.
giving him.
Yeah.
And we see he sent her the flowers and whatnot. And I think that Stella would, go along with it under the guise of this union for power. But I think that if Bumpy was to explain to her what just happened to him, Stella would team up with Bumpy behind Colombo's back, and she would likely do something to get that ownership back of that club and get Bumpy his money.
Yeah,
She's definitely the key to this whole equation.
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I want to go and talk about now this whole situation with the Black Panthers and with Jerome because Jerome, I'm sorry, Delia's son is dead set on going to sign up for the army and be a soldier in
The Vietnam War.
Yeah. I
yeah,
think,
go off to the war. And his mind is made up. Everybody has tried talking to this boy, even down to the great Muhammad Ali. If he can't talk some sense to you, nobody can, like they said.
yeah, and if back in that era, I mean, when he didn't say it directly, but thought that Muhammad Ali's way was cowardice, and I'm thinking, no, it was anything but that because he gave up a lot
And
to
that's what he said. He said, "You think it's cowardice to stand up to the
back
government
Yeah.
and stuff? No, it takes courage to." He stood on business.
extreme bravery. So, but again, it's interesting. I guess his name is Jerome, right?
Yeah, Jerome.
He didn't do his homework on all of it. You see these ads, be all you can be, join the army or whatever, and you have this sense of um, heroism because your dad was in the army,
I was
or
gonna say he's thinking
That
of
was
his
his
dad.
main motivation.
and that
That's
was,
his main motivation.
but see, World War II, even though that was a different war than where he was going, and just
In Vietnam.
right, and just like Muhammad Ali said, no Viet Cong ever called me you know, that N word. So, and a lot of veterans felt that way over coming from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So,
My uncle went and was drafted, did not have a choice
no, exactly,
and stuff and everything. He said, "Look, I tried not to go, and they came and got me."
right,
Yeah, and the sentiment, especially amongst the Panthers, is like, why would we fight in this unjust war? Like, we get treated terribly here at home, and then you use us as collateral damage in this war that essentially these people have done nothing to us. What do we look like going over here to kill this, innocent man? Like, he never, like you said, called me the N word. He never had no ill intent toward me. So why would I go over there and just slaughter, needlessly? And I think that it didn't resonate at first with Jerome because, like you said, he was looking at through the eyes of cowardice, and I want to stand up, I want to have a legacy, I want to basically do something with my life. And it took him a long time to come around. He had to get kidnapped and snatched up. And, I was wondering about Delia's tactics. I know she was desperate, but she was like, I'd rather you be in Canada alive than in this war. And I have to get a letter a week later that you didn't.
She already lost one son. She lost Teddy and stuff, and all to lose to lose a child. She's like, I'm not losing another one.
Yeah, she desperate if she running to Stella and her men for help, because they were some straight up racist. Talking about, we not going to help this lady.
Yeah.
We here for the Gigante family, and essentially told Stella, if that's who you call in family, you need to rethink that. I just thought that was interesting. Their stance, especially since Stella's supposed to be in charge.
I keep wondering when is she going to take that dude out? Because
yeah, whatever his name is, he is a
Pino. Pino is his name.
Right. He's got to go.
Pino got to go.
Yeah, but ultimately we know that Elise was able to reason with Jerome, and she told him and Delia, if you want to have a purpose in life, then come fight alongside the Panthers, because this is actually a just cause. We're doing stuff to better our communities, better the treatment of Black folks in this country. That would give you a purpose without having to fight in a situation, in an unjust war, where you don't know whether you're going to be alive today or tomorrow.
Which is what he's looking for. It seems like he is looking for a cause.
Mm-hmm. He needed a home. And
he was brainwashed into thinking that he's fighting for America when America wasn't fighting for him. 1.8 million Africans came over on 12,000 ships. And we don't know the names of any of those ships, but we do know that 1.8 million Africans lost their lives, coming over. So I can't, I can't, you tell me to go fight a war that has nothing to do with me, and you have nothing to do with me, then why in the hell am I going over there to fight something that doesn't fight for me? That doesn't make sense. It, it just doesn't make sense. And I like what Muhammad Ali did, and if you were able to, get out of it, then fine, because what I think they said they lost 5,700 soldiers in Vietnam, and it was just a war. Ho Chi Minh said, "You don't know how to fight. You don't know anything about guerrilla warfare. You're going to come over here and you'll be destroyed," and they were.
Yeah, first of all, you go into somebody else's territory, you're always going to be at a disadvantage.
Somebody else's backyard. You think you can go over there with your
right
war tactics? Didn't work.
Yeah. So I'm glad that Jerome changed his tune, and it's going to be interesting to see what role he's going to play with the Panthers going forward, because he definitely seems immature, naive, maybe a little hard-headed, and so they're going to have to work with him.
That's some work.
But I did enjoy that storyline, having that to kind of put you back into what time period we dealing with also, and then just to give some more context to the storyline with Delia and all that she's has going on. I like how they keep incorporating her back into the storyline. I really enjoy her character, and especially how it relates with Stella, because it's showing Stella's character too. Stella has really she's stuck in between two worlds, and where she has affection for Delia and where she has a soft spot for Bumpy as well. She's also conflicted with her loyalty to the Italians and whatnot. And so I do like that she gets to play in both of these worlds and do it well. Like she's a boss over with the Italians, and then she shows a lot of love and compassion, and she's very resourceful in helping Bumpy get out of certain situations. So I do like how they keep incorporating these characters back in.
But I think that at some point she's gonna have to make a choice. I hate to say that, because Colombo did say something to her that was rather interesting, and he said, what happens to you when your father's gone?
Yeah.
And he said, certainly they're not going to bring you in, but that was just a woman-man thing back then. Women didn't have certain rights to be in certain boardrooms, and so what happens at that point? What does she do? How high can she go at this point? And at a time when women weren't thought of as being leaders.
I think that's the problem with Colombo, is that he underestimates Stella, and he tries to put her into a box. she's not the average woman for back in that time period. You know, she's already shown that she's really smart and she can lead. And whether her father is around or not, I think that she's smart enough to understand the dynamic she's dealing with and prepare. You know, set some money aside, even if she has to go overseas and live like she was initially going to move out of the country. You know, I think she's smart enough to prepare well ahead of time so that when her father is gone, either she can step up and have people that respect her around and fall in line, or she will bow out and have a little cushion to live off of.
I think survival wise, she'll make it. But I think, like I said, it's those 5 families that have to accept her as a boss.
That's the problem.
I think he does know that she's smart, because when he said, she said, like he said, "Oh, you're a woman boss." She was like, "No, Pino's the boss," and he'd be like, "Come on, we know better." Like, he knows that she running the show. Even Pino is the figurehead, so he does know that she's smart. I think what he's saying too, that not only would they not respect her because she's a woman, but the protection aspect of it, because right now the family probably wouldn't touch her or do anything to her out of respect for her father. Right. But if her father is gone, I think that protection is gone as well. And they might be like, okay, she next in line or whatever. We might want to get her up out of here. So I think he was saying that too. Like, hey, if you marry me, you know, you got we're powerful together, and you got the protection. You got the in-house.
They barely respect him. They tolerating him at this point.
Exactly.
And so that's why I'm like, I think Stella understands that. And I've never said that the Colombo didn't think she was smart. I think that's very apparent. Stella's smart as heck. But he underestimates her ability to maneuver. And I think the fact that, you know, he has this drama going on with Bumpy and he's still trying to court her into this marriage. He's playing with fire and he don't even realize it.
He doesn't. But he also sweet on her too. So that's the other thing.
And that's a weakness.
That's a weakness. Yeah.
And he doesn't realize, like you said, he's playing with a Black Widow. And I'm telling you, they kill their mates. So I, you know, if I were he, you know, keep her at arm's length, because she's so, I mean, she's just, you don't know what she's thinking. And
Stella is the Joker. She's that wild card.
Oh my! I mean, I love her moves so far, and she thinks on her feet. She's not one to be pushed aside.
Yeah. So I really, really love this episode. I can't wait to see what happens. Whether it's this little beef that Pettigrew and Frank got brewing. I can't wait to see what happens in this situation with Bumpy and Colombo. If Bumpy's ever able to get his club back, I want to know whether Stella's going to take Colombo up on the marriage offer. It's a lot. We got a lot to look forward to. Only 2 more episodes left in the season, so it's sure to be definitely a roller coaster. Do you guys have? Oh, go ahead, Tiff.
I was just saying, I really appreciate this show in the way it incorporates like historic events, because you know I was happy to see them incorporate Muhammad Ali and stuff, because we knew the stance that he took on the war back then, and we know how much it cost him, and it was interesting because you know back then he was like reviled for taking that stand and banned, and he suffered, but when he died, you know, he was like, he was revered and loved, and I remember during the Olympics, and he was you know, the torchbearer and stuff, you know, and so I just was like, just very, very interesting.
Yeah, the way that public perception shifted over the years.
Yeah.
But I do have one thing to say. I failed to mention. I've been on Mamie for quite some time. I'm gonna.
Are we giving the game ball?
No, I don't think she's worth that. But I mean, she was a lot more appeasing to me. Palatable, because you know she stood by him. She wasn't out to her normal antics, you know, with these white folks. So I enjoyed that. You know, not that I'm against white people. Please don't think that. But you know, I enjoyed her, what little we saw of her, and how she was as she said, I'm a little tired of this mess that's going on. And so she's with him. So I know I feel comfortable to know that if they were to fall, that she'd be right there. Because
Yeah, she loves him. She loves him. She's like, she not there. At least you know she ain't there for,
The money.
the money and everything like that. She's like, "Look, I'll live with you in a cardboard box." Like she's down for Bumpy no matter what.
Yeah.
I would like to see that cardboard box.
Well, you ain't gonna see it.
Right.
So let's jump into the game. I'm sorry. Well, let's do who can get the hands first. Who can get the hands in you guys' eyes?
No,
Colombo.
Yeah.
that goes without saying. Colombo is absolutely on the list.
For what he said to Stella.
I'm gonna get Pettigrew.
Pettigrew too. Yeah. Pettigrew is sounding like murmuring like Aaron in the wilderness.
I feel like he's warming up his seat for an even higher spot on the hands list. So yeah, I just feel like there's more to come from him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. So yeah, he is. Because it's one thing. I mean, I understood his concerns. I did understand his concerns, but I was like, at the end of the day, like I don't know. I'm just like,
he got one too many complaints.
Yeah. It's like,
very.
I don't know. We gotta keep our eye on him in the seat warm, possibly for the hands list.
Yeah, I was gonna say Straub, but he out already. Straub.
Yeah, but he still for him. Yeah, but then he was in on it, and he got Marshall killed. So yeah, he deserved it anyway.
And I low-key want to give Jerome the hands, but he redeemed himself.
Okay, yeah. Jerome was tripping. Jerome was tripping.
That's a situation where I can agree with you, Tiff, about youth. It was his youth, his misunderstanding of fighting for his country. And at that time, it wasn't your country. You just happened to be here. But so I misguided youth, I would call that.
Okay. All right. Well, do we have a nominee for the game ball?
Now, hold on to your seats, because I'm going to give Frank the game ball. I'm giving him the game ball for his steadfastness and that ability to put a gun up to a certain person coming from behind.
Server.
So he showed himself approved. So give him the game ball this week.
Okay, Tiff, what about you?
That's a good one. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. I don't know. Chance or what's the other guy's name that came and saved?
I was going to say Junie.
Yeah, he came and saved the day.
When Chance and Pettigrew got into the shootout trying to confront Straub.
And they ran out of ammo. They almost got, and he came in and saved the day. Yeah. And if you guys don't know, you guys probably already know at home that the guy, Junie, his real name, Marquand Smith, is like one of the creators and executive producers of the show.
Mm-hmm. So and he also has ties to the real life
to the real life. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so I do think he definitely deserved the game ball, because they was gonna be some goners if it wasn't for him. All right, well, this was a really great episode. I'm seriously looking forward to the next one. I cannot wait to see what happens. To the viewers out there, thank you guys for watching. Please drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode, as well as any predictions that you have for the future episodes to come. It's only 2 left, so strap up. We in for a ride. Please make sure you also follow us on our social media platforms at The Spot Real Talk. We are on all major platforms. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, go ahead and hop in the comments, click that notification bell, tell your friends and family. We have a lot of positive content on this channel. We ain't got no nonsense, no fluff. We give it to you straight. That's why we call it Real Talk.
Real Talk.
Tell them to get down with the real talk. We got some great content coming to you from other shows as well. We're also doing BMF. We got The Shy. We are planning some other, content reviews. So you definitely not going to want to miss out. Make sure you are subscribed and here every time we post. Tiff, Ron, y'all got anything before we close out?
Good.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to call it a night. We'll see you back next time for another recap of Godfather of Harlem. Good night.
I be on top car, I be on job, and I put it on God, they ain't nobody stopping me. Do the thing and it gets done properly. Known for my honesty, not so much for my modesty. What's my policy? No remorse or apology. I am the wickedest, hungry. Show me where the dinner is. First place podium finishes. Man wanna chat about send, deliver it. Man wanna chat about work that they don't do. Not a joke if the man them approach you. Act like you know what it is when I roll through. Let me go back to the start. On job, no days off, now I won't stop. Non-stop, drop fire, but I don't drop. That's why every boy, man, a man's on top. I was in a trap with a stack, it's slacky. Them boy, they can't rap tacky. They love to chat about wow.